Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. Today we're going to look and see how things fared after the cold winter storm. So let's get into it. First thing I've done this morning is move a bunch of plants outside and put them on the shelves. Looks like the shelves are full. I might could adjust and maybe get one more, but we've definitely got a lot of plants out here. Okay, we're looking at the arugula or the radicchio, and a lot of it's fared fairly good. Some of it has actually really got nipped by the weather. I'm going to be pulling out a bunch of this because won't be long I'll be planting peppers in here. The lettuce that's down here, some of it's fared good, some of it hadn't, which is not a big deal. Like we saw before, the tomatoes, they bit the dust. So I'm contemplating watching the weather close, but I think I'm going to go ahead and plant these back here in the next day or two. All the romaine lettuce is gone. What I'm going to do is try to take and go ahead and start some cucumbers. It is kind of cool. I'm going to start them inside. That way I can bring them out and transplant them. And hopefully they'll get enough light underneath the shelf, and I'm just going to grow them up in front of the shelves because I won't be needing too much access by the time they get up there. I think I'll be pretty good with the shelves on the other side. But all our tomatoes and our early peppers are doing good. And like I say, if we can get them in the ground, I can always keep them if it gets inclement weather. The lowest temperature I see in the next 10-day forecast is 39, which is not going to be a problem. But a lot of these tomatoes, they really didn't like the grow light. These were the ones that I've just potted up, and they should do a lot better. Some of the flowers that were really reaching out to get to the light, they'll really be happy that they're out here. And a lot of our little seedlings that were trying to get leggy in the window, they'll start doing good. They'll come up and start getting after it. This lettuce here, some of this will be popped in the ground around the tomatoes. A lot of the rest of it will be planted out in the garden, and it'll be put under cover so it can do good. I need to get these green magic broccolis in the ground. The rest of my beets need to be planted, and we have a few collards right here that's kind of scraggly. They need to get in these rutabagas. And of course this black magic kale, you can see how even though it was covered in here as cold as it got, it did get a burn on a few of the leaves. But that's where we're sitting in the greenhouse right now. I've still got all the covers on. We're going to take these off here this afternoon once they dry the moisture off, and we're going to get all this uncovered. I'd already looked at the beets that are under this row cover right here. They fared well, and we'll see all that. The only place we have any snow left in the garden is right behind the greenhouse, and as you can see where it's shading it's got a little bit, but this won't be long. This will come off or go ahead and heat up because it's going to get fairly warm today. What I want to show you here is I'm taking up these row covers, and most of these are going to be stored. If I end up having to bring some more out, then I'll bring them out. But when you take these up so they'll last and they'll stay in good shape, now you want to separate them according to size or the length, so you'll know when you need them back. You don't want to pull out a 40-foot one and start stretching it on a 50-foot row. If all your rows are the same size, it won't matter. But what we're going to do is We're going to do this like they do on a large rope for a ship when they store them away. It keeps them from getting tangled. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a loop. I'm going to make a loop right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach through this loop and I'm going to grab this and I'm going to pull it through. And I'm going to just keep doing that. I'll grab it, I'll pull it through, stick my hand through that loop, grab it and pull it through, and stick my hand through there and grab it and pull it through. And by the time you do this, you'll have kind of a knitted in. If you get ready to pull these back out and set them out, all you got to do is pull on the end and they'll come right back out. But you can take a 50-foot row of row cover and it'll end up with about an 8 to 10 foot string of this, and then it's easy enough. You can throw it in a barrel, a box, hang it on a hook or something until you need it again. That way it'll be stored away. It won't be all tangled up when you need it, and then you're just ready to stretch it out. Now I'll show you on the end of this. The last loop you do just a little bit different, nothing major, but this doesn't take long to do it. If you get in a real big hurry and you just want to wad them up, well, have fun when you'll spend that a lot more extra time when it comes time to untangle them all where you have them piled up. But we'll take this last loop here, and then what I'm going to do on this last loop, I'm going to get this end of it, and I'm just going to pull this in through the loop. So now it won't come undone. Now this was fairly short row, but it doesn't take up much room. It's easy to handle. It's easy to untangle. So I hope that little trick helps. We've got everything uncovered. Let's take a look here. We've got some time. It didn't mind it. Once that snow got on it, it kind of protected things. The little chives that's here, they're still alive, but you can tell they got hit pretty hard. We've got some oregano here. It didn't mind it too much, nor did the parsley. It's standing up there nice and pretty. Our cilantro, that was up tall going to seed, which it was sticking out from under the snow, so it wasn't protected as much, the tall stuff. But that got the blanket of snow on it. You can see how much better it fared. Let's go over here and look at the beets. Now I have 2 batches of beets here. These were the ones I put in first, and as you can see, my cover come right down on it, but it was snow covered. And these ones down here, these were planted in later, just a short while before all that harsh weather come in, and they all did fair, or did fine. These are my golden beets. Now the leaves are laid down. The cover was down there on them. A lot of the leaves are dead, as you can see, but a lot of them will stand back up now that it's uncovered. The onions, even though they've been covered, they've got quite a few brown leaves, which it won't matter. They'll be fine. The smaller onions seem to fare a lot better. They don't have near so much damage on it. And as we come down here, I wanted to show you the difference in when you get down where stuff was covered and wasn't covered. The fennel, it's kind of low ground cover. It's not standing up, but that's all right. Now the bright lights chard, it kind of got pretty hard, a lot of it because the weight of the snow and stuff on it, but it should be all right. But right down here, you can see this garlic here, how great it looks. There's no browning or anything on it. Now right here was where our row cover ended. We had 100 foot, and that's where it come to. Now you can see these ones here. These are just great. The ones that were out, the snow got on them, which was fine. That kind of protected the bottom, but that -2 really cooked the leaves on top of it. Now the blueberries, these leaves are dried out and dead. It was budding. We'll hope that it just froze it a little bit and killed the leaves. But a lot of these are that way. The leaves are coming off it. They were green all the way through. I don't know that it's budded all the way on a lot of them. Now, some of these down here, which this is the next variety, and its leaves are crinkled up too. It seems like it got nipped pretty hard. And then the final one down here, now these leaves are dried and they do split easy, but it looked like this down here withstood a little bit better. Now the strawberries, they were underneath the cover, and you can see they're still blooming. We still got lots of blooms if we get some bees out here. Even though it got that cold, like I say, that blanket of snow, it probably stayed 32 or above below the row cover. And that's one of the advantages of putting a row cover on. Even though it dropped it down, it had just enough to keep the real cold off the leaves. And with that blanket of snow, it insulated good from that sub-zero Fahrenheit temperature. So, because normally a frost in 22 degrees would kill these, but being it was covered, like I say, it never got that cold and it never got a chance to frost. But they all look good. There's no damage at all on the strawberries. Our red onions, you can see the tops are drooping, but the onions look good. Very little leaf damage to them underneath there. Our carrots that were germinated, they're still doing pretty good. They have a little uneven germination on some of these, which that's to be expected because we didn't cover these at all. We just kept them moist. Now at the end of my row, the Danvers, half-long Danvers that I planted, they didn't come up. Something happened with them, and it might have been that they might have needed cover to get them come up. They might have got too dried after they started to germinate or something. Now this row here, we covered it. This was where we had harvested all the cauliflower before we put the top on, or I say all of it. Now we have a few heads that we left down in here. This one looks like we might have a bug running around here or something, but it has a little head, but it's got a brown spot on it, so it doesn't look like it's gonna do any good. All our red cabbage, this was young, but it looks like it fared okay. There's a few cauliflowers here. We'll see what they're going to do. We need to cut out all the old plants from these other ones. Now this row wasn't covered at all, and you can see it just took and destroyed it. The one next to it that was covered, our cabbage is really looking good, even though the low temperatures. Looks like we might have got a little bit on the tip of this one, but understand a cabbage grows from the inside out, so we'll leave that and it'll be fine. But coming up here, we've got few more cabbages. Now these ones were actually uncovered, and you can see they fared real well for the temperatures that it got to. And of course these up here that were covered did good. We got one more row to uncover here, some of our leek. It's go ahead and take a look at it. It's really doing good, keeping that freeze off there. Now this ragged jack kale, it was pretty well beat up before this happened, and you can see it's even rougher, but we had no intents of harvesting any more of it. Over here we have our Texas granules, the yellow granules, and they look pretty good. They look like they probably want some more chicken litter on them, so I'll put some of that on. Now these yellow granules here, we didn't cover this row, and it was kind of to see what happened. And you can see the leaves got pretty well toasted from the cold temperatures, but it won't take them long to recover, and they'll really jump back. The other leek that's up here, that's in there real tight, it did good. This fennel, this is fennel that has come back from the root when we cut the others out. We didn't cut some of them deep enough, and so it just regrew from the root, which is okay. That's like a free crop. Now my gypsy broccoli, this wasn't covered, and you can tell it's toast. It's gonna come out. And this is my leek. This was my first crop. It's ready to have some of it harvested out of there. Now these are collards, but I don't think they're collards. I planted them, I thought they were collards, but they look more like Brussels sprouts. Now, I haven't seen the sprouts growing yet on this one, but I'm thinking it might actually be Brussels sprouts. Now it wasn't covered. A few of them really got toasted, but the rest are all right. This is my dinosaur kale. Now it did break the tops on some of these. They'll definitely won't be any good, but the rest of them, they'll go ahead and grow on. Now it was all covered. There's some of my early Jersey, either early girl or early Jersey, I don't remember which one. And then some red cabbage that's in here. And it's all doing good. It should start coming on. And here's some flat Dutch down here. It's doing okay. It's not gigantic. And our next batch of kohlrabi, right here, it's doing good. Now that it's got some sun, it ought to start going. And these cabbages right here, they ought to be happy now and start taking off. We have a few small red cabbages here on this row that we left when we redid it. We went ahead and covered the whole thing, but so we could protect these. And this row has some more cauliflower and some broccoli. We'll leave this until we really got to have this space to plant and keep cutting sprouts off it. We'll have to get rid of these cauliflower plants that we've harvested out. Some of these small broccoli plants, they'll just need to be removed. But it's still looking pretty good. Our sprouts, we'll have to see if they keep making or if they start wanting to go to seed, and we won't know that until after it starts getting sunlight and growing. If it goes to seed, we might keep some seed just to plant it, see how it does. This is Green Magic, and it's actually a hybrid, so if it does come back, it won't come true to what it is. And this row over here, it really doesn't look too bad. It got a frost on this before, so some of the leaves were damaged. This is giant red leaf, Japanese giant red leaf. And we have some kale in here. And then we have some turnips in here. Now these turnips they don't have much leaves, but they're getting some nice little bulbs on them. We've been harvesting some out. Not bad for a winter crop. And this is some regular mustard, or green mustard. And we have a few radishes left in here. We've harvested all the French breakfast. And we've got some cherry bales. We've been coming in here and harvesting some. They're kind of small, but now, and some of them like this one here, this is going to seed once the top starts coming up. Those like that'll have to be pulled out. They've taken quite a long time, been in the cold, so the chances are they might take and all have to be replanted. But it's about that time it should start warming up. And the rest of our garlic over here is kind of toasted on the top of it too, but it'll be fine. It'll come back and grow. It's got plenty of time. Sometimes we see that here in the south. But anyway, that's where it's sitting today. We hopefully we'll get some potatoes planted. Have to decide which rows I want to put them on, and hopefully we'll get our barrels full of potatoes too. Get that out in the next few days, because normally we'd do that on the 15th, and right now we're about a week behind, so I think it's the 22nd. But that's where it is. I hope you liked seeing how well we fared, you know, and the difference that row cover makes in your garden. The little tip to help put that away so you won't have a problem as far as getting it back out if you need it again. And if you like this, want to see more of my videos, just hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button so you will be notified, and give it a big thumbs up. That helps out my channel. Happy gardening.